man. I'm the author of Spiritual Adrenaline, a lifestyle plan to strengthen and nourish your recovery. And I'm really excited to be here today with an old friend of mine. Hi, Yana. How you doing? It's
Hi.
Yana Kasper. Yana is the CEO of ROCovery Fitness in Rochester, New York, and they've actually expanded to other parts of the state. She'll share about that. And she's a co-founder as well as the CEO, and she's a licensed clinical social worker, and she was prior to the founding of ROCovery Fitness. She has extensive background in working with people with trauma, on mental health issues, with eating disorders, and of course with addiction issues. She's NASM certified personal trainer, which I did not know, and a peer counselor, and one of the coolest and nicest people I've ever had the pleasure to work with and get to call friend. Yana, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me, Tom. It's been a while.
It's been a while. It's been a while. So, just for the knowledge of folks who are watching this who maybe aren't familiar with ROCovery, why don't you give them some background on what y'all do up there?
Yeah, absolutely. So ROCovery Fitness is a nonprofit, peer-led, sober, active community committed to creating an environment of healing and recovery based around health and wellness. We are the only program of its kind in New York State, which is really exciting. We offer a multitude of services and programs. We have a sober clubhouse, wellness center, gym kind of setting. We do various strength and conditioning classes, open gym, yoga, various mutual aid groups, support groups. We go to the Adirondacks, we hike and camp and kayak, do park workouts. We've recently started doing some peer recovery work. We've entered the realm of peer recovery support services and are doing some pretty innovative work in non-traditional settings.
You've done amazing work up there, and your building that you're in is a firehouse for many years, and it's got the coolest layout, perfect the services you offer. You have a yoga studio upstairs. You have that full gym on one side of the ground floor. If anyone's listening to this in the Rochester area, just stop by. It's a really friendly place to pop into. So Yana, these are obviously difficult days for everybody, but I think for people in addiction recovery, the recommendations that we usually give people, avoid isolation, go to meetings, spend time with your fellows. Everything has changed within really a week. So, what are y'all doing up in Rochester with the recovery that's different from what you were doing before the virus and the pandemic came to the United States?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've had to cease our programs temporarily. We have had to close the center. We're no longer doing outdoor events, but we're really taking advantage of the virtual world. We do various Facebook Live events throughout the day, each and every day, from kind of daily meditation, daily readings, to a book study, to we have runs and workouts, yoga. Geez. Just so much. There's like nightly check-ins with me where we kind of reflect on our day and talk about living in gratitude. We're also always available if someone needs help or support. Isolation is can be a huge challenge for people in recovery and people outside of recovery too. And we want to continue to try to engage our community, stay connected. Um, Build those resources that they can access in this kind of new era of addiction recovery, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're someone who's in recovery yourself, and so you're very sensitive to the fact like if a newcomer coming out, let's say, of an inpatient setting right now, has a very kind of a different mindset than someone who's been here for many years. Although they share much in common, they're also different. What are the five, let's say, 3 to 5 top pieces of advice that you would have for someone who's in early recovery that's being challenged by what's happening out there?
Absolutely. I would definitely, I think the biggest piece is asking for help, reaching out to supports, being vocal, reaching out to friends, to the sober community, staying engaged. Isolation is really dangerous for people in recovery and in early recovery, especially. I also think about there's a virtual community of mutual aid meetings, various 12-step, Buddhist approach, smart recovery, all recovery. There are just so many online resources, and people are really eager to connect and help. So
Mhm.
whether it's ROCovery, whether it's a different resource, outpatient programs are still operating also through Zoom for most of them. So continue to talk about it, continue to engage and ask for help.
Mhm.
Self-care, looking at kind of our basic needs. Are we sleeping? Or what's the nutrition schedule like? What's hydration like? These little basic things that really um, are instrumental
A
in.
huge difference. Yeah, they make a huge difference. So, if someone's interested in learning about the programming, the virtual programming that ROCovery is offering at this point in time, where do they go to get the information?
They would check us out on Facebook, and that's ROCovery Fitness in the search box. We also have a website, and that's www.rockcoveryfitness.org. They
Hmm.
can email us for additional support. That's mail, MAIL, at rockcoveryfitness.org. And
Hmm.
we're always standing by, ready, willing, and able to provide support.
Awesome. One of the things that ROCovery does very well is to get out on weekend hikes and
Mhm.
take people, many people, really for the first time, if they're new, to get out of the city, up in the mountains, doing these hikes and just seeing around greenery. It's a good thing to do right now with social distancing because that's one of the things that we're able to do, right? We can't congregate in big groups. So can you just go through, based on your experience and working with your own personal experience, but also in working with people who are in recovery, what are the benefits of being out in nature? Uh, and what can they expect? Why do you encourage people to do that?
I think a connection with nature is so very important to me. It's kind of a meditative practice, looking around, taking in the beauty, feeling the breeze or feeling the ground underneath my feet. And, there's something so powerful in fresh air and sunlight, right? Research shows those things are good for you. But really, for me, I found connection to the greater world through
Mm.
nature, really, especially something is so sort of provides this sense of peace. When I step out into the woods, it's like all my troubles fall away.
Mhm. Right. I can relate to you. I spent my first year, I mean, I get out in nature whenever I possibly can. But I spent my first year getting sober up in the Portland, Maine area. And I
Hmm.
used to get, seeing the sunrise in the mornings up over the ocean was like a magical experience to see those colors. And I credit that experience and just being out in that natural setting for really setting me down, like kind of establishing in me that discipline of making sure I got out of the city and got out into some green space and got to see the beauty of God's creation. You mentioned gratitude earlier. I've been reflecting on all the things that I take for granted on a daily basis that have changed since the pandemic did hit the United States. What have you been reflecting on these days in the context of gratitude?
I think I really talk a lot about living in gratitude, especially now more than ever. I try to do that just any day, but I think about, having access to a phone, having access to internet, being able to connect with others. I'm so grateful for that because not everyone has those sort of, privileges, really, a roof over my head, a bed I could lay down and my body being able to, get outside and exercise and
Right,
walk. Just
right,
those, when you're down and out, just those little things aren't so little to a lot of people, you
yep.
know. To be sober today, because I can't imagine what active addiction is like for people right now.
It would be a horror show. I can just tell you, and I journal a lot. And I was writing about that in my book about if I was in my journal, excuse me, if I was actively using right now, it would be, for lack of a better way to put it, a shit show. The drama, the chaos, the not just acting out in every possible way and putting myself and my family at risk. So I'm very grateful to be sober and to be able to deal with it as best as I can and to help other people. I mean, that really is a beautiful gift. And that's something that you've been giving. You can't keep what you have without giving it away, they say you and Sean Smith and everybody else at ROCovery have been doing that for years. So thank you so much for coming on. And let's just close with, again, if people are interested in reaching out to you or ROCovery, how do they go about doing
Absolutely. So, best way is probably our Facebook page and
that?
our website, and let's look up ROCovery Fitness on Facebook, um, and our